Okay, I think we are ready to get going here. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. I wanted to welcome you to the latest installment to the Voices of Video. Today's topic is going to be streaming video industry challenges in a volatile world, reflections upon the past year. This is really going to be kind of a casual year-end discussion on some of the streaming events that have occurred in 2022, some of the impacts that we've seen. And then towards the end, we're going to talk a little bit about the work that NETINT and Supermicro have been doing together to address some of these issues. So first of all, my name is Bob Fung. I am the director of marketing at NETINT Technologies. And for those of you who may not be aware, NETINT designs, we manufacture, and we sell ASIC-based video encoding solutions. And I'm super excited today to have my buddy Ben Lee, Director of Solution Management at Supermicro, with us. Ben, why don't you just tell them a little bit about what Supermicro does?
So Bob, thank you for having me, right? So Supermicro is a global technology leader, and we are committed to deliver innovative product, to focus on different vertical markets such as enterprise, cloud, AI, 5G, telco, and edge. And, we are also transforming ourselves to be like a total IT solution provider, and with a very environmental friendly and also energy saving platform at the rate level. So again, I'm glad to be here.
So we got a lot to talk about today. Really, I guess today's talk is about kind of some of the interesting milestones that we've seen in the last year. So, I think really, if we look back at the last year, actually about a year ago from now, I guess, one of the big talks was this new thing called the metaverse. Right? So, 2022 started off, with Meta's, I guess, their futuristic vision of the internet called the metaverse. And I guess, I think one way the metaverse can be described is that it's a combination of virtual reality, augmented reality, and video, where users can interact within a digital universe. So taking stock of where the metaverse is today, obviously we're still in the early days. It's still continuing to evolve, and it's still, I guess, very much in a nascent state. But I guess one of the notable things with it is that it continues the trend of unique individual one-to-one video streaming experiences, which I think is sort of in contrast to the way other services like OTT and let's say SVOD platforms do today, where that's more of a one-to-many video streaming services. So I don't know, Ben, is that kind of the way you see it?
First of all, I have to say, there's a caveat I want to talk about, right? So, we all know Meta got hit by revenue, badly, and they have some kind of layoff, right? So, but I think in general, from our point of view, I think in the whole AR VR market is really growing and booming. And so, but, I think overall, because the whole technology thing is getting mature, right? But that means we are pushing the whole hardware platform and the whole streaming infrastructure to the next level. So this is something we need to be really cautious, right? So
yeah, I think one of the interesting things about the metaverse, right? Just to follow up what you're saying, is that there's so many different ways for it to earn revenue,
right.
Things like advertising, business services, and apparently tourism.
Right.
So it does remain to be seen, I think, which one of these will stick and which ones won't. Just to kind of switch gears here a bit. I mean, kind of another thing that we saw was Netflix, for instance, and their shift in subscriber models from just subscription-based SVOD to now they're going to have an advertising-based tier, AVOD. So, I guess this really probably shouldn't be a surprise, given maybe the current sort of economic conditions and some of the economic uncertainty, and really the need to, I guess, to give subscribers like a value-based offering.
So, I can't echo the point. I think the inflation, definitely, accelerate the whole paradigm put this way. We've seen like Disney Plus, also just announced their new kind of, AVOD price plan. And, like Hulu or like Discovery Plus have been doing this for a while. So, I think, but back to like Netflix, right? I think we see like the two set of consumers now, like they really reported to that they want to cut back their subscriptions, right?
Mhm.
But Netflix still kind of continue to enjoy the growth. We see there's a great growth in Q3 for this year, and we also see there's more business subscription growth projected in Q4. So I think it definitely contribute their kind of AVOD service. So.
It's interesting, one of the things I find sort of interesting with AVOD is that it does sort of
Yeah.
mark a full circle return to broadcast like viewing behavior. Now on the advertising tiers, now complete with commercial breaks. I've sort of gone full circle with that. So I am actually curious to see over time if that's something customers will continue to accept, or if it's going to get stale. One of the things that I've noted is that and one of the projections for Netflix is that they're going to earn over $4 billion in ad revenue from their new tier, their new advertising-based tier, which is one of the projections that we've seen. And I think the important sort of takeaway from there is that this AVOD is projected, I guess, to be a big moneymaker, because it's going to make them, the AVOD revenue is going to make them the second largest ad-supported platform, only after YouTube, right? So it's definitely something to be to keep an eye on.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. They're doing a lot of other neat things too. One of the things that we've seen with Netflix is the emergence of an online mobile cloud gaming platform, right? They've been reported that they're going to launch their own online cloud gaming service as a follow-on to their current game offerings. But maybe this shouldn't really be a surprise. Maybe just sort of a natural evolution of what they've been doing. I think just given their heavy investment in developing game titles, I think they've purchased at least 6 gaming studios to date.
To me and to Supermicro as a team, I think we look at Netflix now. They are adding the game into the product portfolio, and basically we believe that they try to expand the number of platforms that they can offer the access to their customers, right? But at the same time, they also service additional services to increase more revenue, right? So that's really honestly, that's in 2022, the cloud gaming is also one growing area for Supermicro. And I would just say thanks to our very complete GPU solutions as well.
I think for sure, cloud gaming is on a growth trajectory for the foreseeable future. But Ben, I guess I got to ask you, I'm sure other people are thinking it right now too. Like what do you think happened to Stadia? I mean, given all the optimism around the growth of online gaming, right? Unfortunately, I think we're seeing the end of that platform.
Yeah, I would say, maybe Google just too early to be in a game. And but I think overall their strategy just try to move the game console like the PS4, Xbox to the cloud, which I'm not sure that's really a smart idea, because it is from I see from my kids, they still love to play the Xbox or PS5, right? But it's just unfortunate that basically the consumer did not follow that kind of the path that Google tried to lay out, right?
Right.
But that's a lot of effort, but it didn't work. But we know Google sometimes did that sometimes, right? But in the same time, I see like some platform like Netflix or like Tencent. I think they have a smarter approach, right? They are moving the game experience to the phone, which is, everybody has a phone, right? So I think it's more, reasonable to all the people to, follow that kind of path.
So one of the things that I kind of see, maybe with the exception of Stadia this year, is that we're seeing I think for 2023, we're going to see a shift in customer behavior that we're seeing now, with a lot more focus on cost and value conscious streaming services. In addition to some of these newer services like the metaverse and cloud mobile gaming. So and hopefully they continue to gain traction. So I think overall, from what I've seen, that there's a lot, despite what's going on in the world, that there is a lot of reasons in the streaming video industry to be really optimistic. We're still seeing a lot of innovation. We're seeing a lot of demand for new services. But right, unfortunately, there's a couple of big elephants in the room for 2022. Specifically, one of them is like what we're seeing, unfortunately, unfolding in Eastern Europe. The the related global economic downturn, and we're seeing also now too a lot of pressure or emphasis on environmental concerns, and these are all continuing to shape our industry. The war in Eastern Europe and sort of, I guess, the overarching geopolitical events of that conflict, it's unfortunately created an energy crisis in Europe that's rippling throughout the world, and that's really placing a lot of pressure on streaming video platforms to really rethink how they're doing things.
Yeah, I think on the top of that, just echo you. I think this issue is even getting worse, right? Because we talked a lot, these kind of, data centers, vendors, customers, right? So I think the issue is getting worse because that there's some is setting pressures to control the data center, the growth of the data center, right? Especially in Europe. And we see, like, for example, Ireland or Netherlands, they already placed some restrictions that to limit the data center growth, right? So basically, this is just simply not enough, like land or the power. I mean, the energies in Europe, right? And I would say, in other regions, in the world, they try to build the infrastructures to meet the demand, but that will also create more issues for them to do such things, in the future.
What do we need to do, right? I mean, we have all these new streaming platforms, that are emerging, and but we also have this we're also constrained by geopolitical and some of these global economic uncertainty. So, right. so I do think that the industry needs to address some key issues if it's going to continue to prosper and add new services and hopefully ultimately new subscribers. We got to control data center sprawl, right? So if we're going to add new services or capacity, I don't think we can automatically equate that anymore to building more or bigger data centers, and that's just becoming more difficult. We need to reduce, our operational as well as our operational expenses as well as our capex. In our current sort of global economic climate, we really need to control costs for a number of different reasons. And in addition, one of them also is just certainly uncertainty in the financial markets. We can't always guarantee anymore that we're going to have access to the capital that we need to expand. So again, lots of pressure to control both operational and capital expenditures. And I previously mentioned this: energy costs and environmental impact. And these are things that are sort of intrinsically linked, and they got to be and we have to reduce them. We're seeing a lot of regulators now, enacting environmental regulations, and if you're a video platform and you start to ignore those, you're going to be doing this at your own risk, right? So I guess I'm going to let you talk here in a minute, Dan. But my last thing I want to say here is that so what can we do, right? So essentially, video platforms they need to do more with less. If you're a video platform in 2023, right? You need to have an expansion plan or growth plan that considers the difficulty in expanding your data center footprint. You need to get your energy costs down, right? Energy costs, especially in Europe, but again, it's kind of rippling throughout the world. These are going to keep growing, and they're going to be growing. It's going to be like this, for the foreseeable future. We also need to get our carbon footprint down, again, before someone makes us do it. So, Ben, I guess Ben, my question to you is, like, what do you think the path forward is here? I mean, honestly, when you kind of look at what's going on in the world, and you look at some of these issues, they're pretty daunting, and they can at least seem at first glance to be kind of insurmountable. But I know you and Supermicro, right? You obviously have a lot of experience in this in many different industries. So I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, I think there's different approaches. Right? I think we can talk about that further. But I think first one, I think there's a one thing or the vision we need to try to address. And I think I learned this from from the market or from my NETINT friend. We can use the example like the YouTube, right? The Argo VCU, right? I think you guys are aware of that. That's their like in-house design ASIC, right? And just for the encoder, right? And I think YouTube is using that to encode like over like 500 hours, of content per minute, right? So that really reduced their encoding costs, right? So that's they ahead of the competition, right? So obviously, not everyone can just like Google. They can have a great team to design their own ASIC, right? So whatever you are like a hyperscale platform or like educational, educational, corporate government. Now, pretty much you need some video solutions, right? So you need a very powerful ASIC. So I think that's why I'm really enjoyed to partner with Bob and the NETINT friends. I think you guys have some very interesting solutions for sure.
So Ben is Ben is leading me into a sort of a
no, I made it. Yeah, I made it.
We're going to talk about why Ben and I are virtually here today. So yeah, you're right. I mean, that's the Argos platform is a great sort of example of a great way to address some of these issues that we've been talking about today. High performance ASIC encoding for the longest time, I guess, has been the domain of big, hyperscale platforms, with ASIC development teams at their disposal. But I do think that's changing. It is changing, and that type of technology is available to everyone now. Last year, with the use of ASICs, NETINT, we encoded over 200 billion minutes of video, and I think what we're and the way this partnership with Supermicro has sort of unfolded is that we were looking for a partner to help us address, some of these core fundamental issues that we just mentioned that we need to address going into 2023. So the first, I guess, result of our partnership is this new platform that we have called the Video Transcoding Server. It's essentially a turnkey video encoding platform based on a 1 rack unit Supermicro server, and it's powered by 10 NETINT T408 ASIC transcoder modules. It's a drop-in solution, and really what it does, first thing is it gives you a 25 times reduction in operational costs compared to CPU or software-based encoding. So that does address that need to keep our operational expenses under control. And also, when you get this magnitude of savings from ASIC encoding, it actually is enough that it will offset your CapEx expenditures associated with having to do this upgrade in the first place. So, it's a bit of a cliche, but I think switching to ASIC encoding actually pays for itself, right? In at least a number of different ways. In addition to this cost savings, the advantages of ASIC encoding includes, a reduction in your server footprint. Let's say by a factor of 25 times. So really what that translates into, obviously, is you can have, either, smaller data centers, or you don't have to, expand your data center every time you want to add a new service or, or expand capacity. That also does have a corresponding reduction in power, right? So, you obviously using less power, you're spending less money there. And almost as a bonus, because you're reducing your power, you also get a massive 25 times reduction in carbon emissions. So this enables, overall, this enables video platforms to expand their encoding capacity without increasing their server or carbon footprints, and avoiding any kind of potential sort of regulatory issues. Again, it's a really great solution for addressing these sort of these fundamental issues. So I guess, I've talked a little bit here about how, I guess NETINT's contribution to this partnership, but Ben, why don't you tell me what I guess Supermicro's secret sauce is that enables the video transcoding server?
I think, just look at my virtual background, right? So, Supermicro really commit to the green computing, and we, across all industrial and applications, right? So we really, strive to create green solutions available to the market. And when I look at the video streaming, right, we see, just like we discussed, the use cases or application relying on the video streaming, we're just getting, continue to grow, putting it straight. And I think that will be also last for, very long time. So we want to be part of this kind of responsible industry, right, to contribute. So that's why we love to partner with NETINT to create a green encoding solution. So the server you just mentioned is just our latest encoding solution, and that can use your TO4A video transcoder and without server to become very powerful, power efficient streaming server as well. So
okay, so obviously, I'm if nothing else, just by me looking at your background, that with the trees and the server racks growing out of them, that's Supermicro has been obviously, you guys are really focused on green computing,
right?
And that, I think that's why we've been such a great fit together, because it's also obviously a major priority for us,
right?
But can you give me some background, I guess, on how are you actually going to enable green video streaming?
Yeah, I think we look at this from two areas we're focusing, right? So first is like we look at this from the solution approach, right? So I think first that's why we treasure the partnership with NETINT, right? Because we believe our solution combined together is the best performance solution in the market, and not just in terms of the performance per cost, right? But also on the performance per watt. I think this is very important because more and more people now really focus on the operating cost. Just like we mentioned before, all the energy costs, the data center limitation is really going to be very challenging, right? So we try to push both parties' strengths together, right? So NETINT, you guys provide a high efficient video transcoding modules, and we provide the latest and greatest servers. And based on our building block strategies, right? So we can always launch the next generation server as a first mover in the market. And I don't want to mention that there's a lot of PR, these days talk about how Supermicro launched the latest and greatest solutions, right? So on the top of that, we, as a solution, we want to ensure the whole platform serve the best quality for the 4K streaming servers. So, actually this server has completed lots of lab testing that includes thermal performance, compatibilities. So, we feel very comfortable to stay behind the quality. We believe the quality is very solid. So we want to really bring this to not just the best performance per watt, but also be a very good quality stream servers, right? So, in the same time, I think, Bob, that, right? We're in conversation to expand the solution to different areas in 2023.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's one area, right? So the area is like the rack scale approach, right? So, I keep saying that, right? So, we really take the screen computing very, very seriously. Okay. I love to say that again and again. And so we are very excited to work with NetInt to bring the high efficient string server, right? But we also know it's also an important topic to address at a rack scale level, at data center level. So, to all the data center, right? I think the key is to reduce the PUE, right? So one thing we can reduce the PUE is in the liquid cooling. So our liquid cooling solutions, is available now, and actually across all the platforms, right? That can help the data center greatly reduce the typical PUE from 1.5 to between 1.5 to 1.6 to 1.06 or 1.05. So this is a significant, reduction. And I have to say, based on our calculations, we estimate that can save more than 40% of the total data energy cost in the data center. So that's amazing, right?
Yep.
And so we are very confident that to have our customers to save their energy cost, not just on the solution level, which work with you guys, but also at the rack level or data center level, right? And on the top of that, we want to make sure it's a plug and play. So we do all the testing, qualification, software loading. That means the customer just need to receive a rack and plug in a cable, and boom, it's on. So it will be very, very interesting. So I would say overall, we believe Supermicro is very well positioned to support the video streaming market, right? And we can provide a high performance power vision solutions. And again, I really treasure to the partnership with NetInt people, and look forward to have a very excited 2023, with my friend Bob and NetInt team.
We're at the end of 2022 here, and most definitely, I think there's going to be a lot of things, obviously for NetInt and Supermicro, but I think for the industry to really look forward to in 2023, as we address some of these, some of these challenging issues. So thanks, Ben. Anyways, I think we're going to time out soon. I mean, I am really excited at all the new things that are occurring in our industry. And I think we do have our work cut out for us, but I think if we focus on the things that need to be addressed, we're going to be just fine. So Ben, unless you have anything else you want to say, I mean, I think we could potentially take a few questions here. So I do see here actually that there are some questions here. So feel free to chime in as I read these. So the first question I have is, who's this video transcoding solution for? If I'm deciding between a cloud and my own data center, is this the right moment, or should I stick with the cloud? So, the video transcoding server compared to, let's say, co-located, compared to you doing it in a cloud, obviously it's going to, I guess the balance between OpEx and CapEx is going to be a little different. So if you're doing it in the cloud, obviously you're going to have less upfront sort of CapEx costs, but you're going to have significantly high, I guess, operational costs. Whereas, specifically with the video transcoding server, yes, you will have some upfront costs dropping in and installing the server, but you're going to have extremely low operational costs, largely because of its ASIC based encoding technology. And essentially what that will do is that you'll experience such a big reduction in OpEx that it's essentially going to pay off your capital expenditures that you had to spend to buy those servers in the first place. So in essence, I think it pays for itself. So, I think it really kind of depends on your own personal application, which one is better, where you kind of like that balance between OpEx and CapEx. So I wouldn't say one's better or the other. It just kind of depends, what kind of business model that works best for you.
I basically just agree with you. I think it's just a trade-off between the, you want to adapt the cloud, or you your own And I think we have always ongoing kind of discussion with customers or kind of even sometimes debate, but we can help customer to do the quick calculation just like based on all the information or experience we have. Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, here's another question. Do I have to buy the whole server, or can I just buy a couple of video processing units to experiment with? So, no, you don't have to buy the whole server. The advantage of buying the a video transcoding server, it's a complete turnkey, fully tested solution that assembled by Supermicro that you can just drop into your facility. However, we do understand that not everyone, certainly initially, maybe wants to get into an entire server, and maybe you want to just have do like a sort of proof of concept test. So in that case, yes, you can simply buy some of the standalone transcoder modules and and essentially experiment with those.
Yeah, so Bob, maybe chime in a bit. In certain way, we also offer some like the remote POC. So that's kind of option that's we can consider. But I think the best way definitely buy the turnkey solutions, from us, and we provide a great support.
Let's see here. Are there any use cases or applications for the server? Who's this for? So that's it's a good question. I mean, basically you can think the server itself can be used by sort of a wide range of different use cases or applications. Obviously, it is suitable for large, everything from sort of large video platforms all the way down to much smaller video platforms. Looking outside of media and entertainment, you could actually use it for other applications like public safety, for instance. This having a really high performance low cost server is probably a really good fit. There also probably is some institutional applications and government video applications for it too. So really it's kind of suited for like a wide range of different applications.
Yeah, so I probably sort of curveball here. So as I mentioned, right, so this streaming server is just the first step, the partnership between Supermicro and NETINT. So just like you mentioned, the public safety, and I know you guys have something coming up, focus on more like video analytics things, right? And we also focus on different market with different kind of solutions, right? We have some like edge, server or edge, small box that we can power with. That's why, we're going to have more things to do in 2023.
So let's see here. One question here is, what codecs does the server support? So the transcoding server supports H.264 and HEVC. And yes, I think we do consider, and second part of it is, and is it low latency? So yes, we do target this, for applications like gaming and or live streaming where you might need low latency. So yes, it is suitable for that. Here's another one. So what connected the two companies? So I think we might have touched on this before. I think for at least certainly on the NETINT side, what made us, I guess, approach or work with Supermicro is that we do have a lot actually of I guess overlapping priorities. Things like you said, green computing or green encoding, to be more specific, is obviously a priority for NETINT. And be able to create a super low power, low carbon emission solution is not necessarily easy, and we had to make sure that we picked the right partner, Supermicro. So at least on our side, I think that's kind of what attracted us to working with Supermicro.
I have to say, I call you like, I think we have, I think the both companies' vision or mission is, has a great synergy, right? So, you guys looking for, green streaming, we looking for like provide the best green computing for total ID solutions. So we love to partner with you guys to, especially focus on video streaming, video related, market, I think, to contribute, right? Again, we can help to save the cost, again, not just on the overall upfront cost on the server or platform, but also on the operating cost, right? I think that's people care about. And we strive to come to provide a solution. So again, we have more things to come in 2023.
So Ben, I do want to thank you for taking the time out, to have this talk with us today. And
Sure.
so I think actually for anyone who's actually listening to this video discussion today, sorry, brain lock, just discussion today, thank you very much. And I think right after the discussion, sometime we will be sending you a little bit more background information on some of the things that we talked about today. So hopefully you weren't sitting there madly taking notes, because we will send some information for you today. So I think this is a great time to wrap things up. So again, thank you, everybody. Ben and I really appreciate you taking the time out today to listen to our discussion. And Ben, thank you very much today for being here.
Thank you for having me. So look forward to have more conversation with Bob and the team.
All right. Well, take care, everyone. Have a great day.